Well, yeah, there's your problem. Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Got a project today, but it's not going in today. We just picked it up. We're not starting this for a couple weeks, but I do need to figure out a way to get this thing off the trailer. So for the last 2.5 weeks, I've been eyeballing this 14 F150 down in St. Louis, Missouri at the Copart, and I just could not decide how bad a shape this thing was. And this thing went to the auction twice now. And yesterday was Tuesday. That would have been the third week it went to the auction. And that's kind of the rules. It usually sells on the third week. Now, the last two weeks this thing's ran through auction. Somebody down in Tennessee ran it up to about $3,400, and they didn't get it. Last week they had to buy it now of $46.75, I think it was. And the following week it went for $3,400 again, and it didn't sell. Came back to the buy now for $42.75. What do you do, you know? So like I said, I've been staring at this thing for 2 weeks trying to decide how bad this damage actually is. And I figure there's only one way to find out, and that's just to buy the stupid truck, right? Because that's how you roll the dice. So yesterday this thing was supposed to go back to auction. I had 2 hours to buy it before the buy it now was lifted. And well, I'm not going to say against my better judgment, but well, here's the truck. So I've learned my lesson before that if that comes back with a buy it now for $800 more than what the highest bid was last week, and then I try to buy it at the auction, it usually goes for higher than the buy it now, because now me and the guy down in Tennessee, yeah, now we're in a bidding war. So I learned if you want it, just frickin' pay for it. You're not going to save that much more trying to win it at the auction. It was already going to bring at least $3,400. Probably would have went well over $42.75. So truck's mine. Ran down and got it yesterday. Sorry to the guy down in Tennessee. You've been trying to buy it for 2 weeks, but you should just push the button, because this thing is super clean for a 14 F150. It's just as clean as my gray truck, but that's the problem. I don't need 2 trucks. Well, technically super truck, I have 3 trucks, but still, I only need 1 work truck, and now I have 2. So let me show you something that most F150s in the Midwest doesn't have, but this one does. Cab corners, look at that, solid as can be. Rockers, solid as can be. Look at the frame of this thing. For a 12-year-old truck with 111,000 miles, that's clean around here. I was at the Walmart this morning. Let me show you a picture of this exact truck, what it looks like in the Midwest. So to get one this clean, you gotta travel south. Now you remember the gray truck, brought this one up from Georgia. Same thing, super clean. It's actually cleaner than the red truck. It's got cab corners and rockers. And I do like the FX4 trucks. I like the color keyed bumpers, handles, mirrors, wheels, all that good stuff. I'm one of those chrome don't get you home kind of guys, and this is a Lariat. Technically it has a little too much chrome for me, but originally looking in the pictures, the back bumper was damaged. I swore it was, but there's nothing wrong with it. So when I bought it, I thought, well, if the back bumper's damaged, the front end's already wrecked, I'm just going to switch everything over to painted, color key everything, get a different grille, blacked out headlights, blacked out taillights, take those step bars off completely. If the truck was like sat high, I get it, but they're almost in the way to me. So like I said, this is a Lariat, so it's got the leather interior, driver's wheel bags blowing obviously. Not a big fan of the wood grain dash or the wood grain door inserts, but honestly I probably won't keep the truck that long if I keep this one. I don't know which one I'm keeping yet. I got a couple people interested in the gray one. It's a super clean truck, super nice truck. The difference is that one's a 5-liter Coyote. This one's the V6 EcoBoost. Now I love the sound of the Coyote, I do, but I've owned both these trucks multiple times over the years, and I will tell you, if you're going to hook a trailer to something, I'm going to hook it to an EcoBoost before I hook it to that 5-liter. Talking 100 pound-feet of torque more between the V6 and that 5-liter Coyote. Now don't get me wrong, that thing pulls great at 4,500 RPM with you flat-footed on the floor. It'll get up and go. But this thing will downshift a gear, a little whistle comes on, and the thing just goes. It does. When we built the Shell 7 years ago, I had a black EcoBoost, and I was borrowing a friend of mine's mini excavator. It was a heavy bastard, and that EcoBoost pulled that thing all day long. And since we have a trip coming up this fall, hopefully to Colorado, and we're going to be hauling the Weiss Bronco out there to do some wheeling, I'd rather have an EcoBoost. But like I said, we'll see how this truck does. Right now, I did start it, and it runs beautiful. So today, we had to figure out a way to get it out the trailer. Now, I don't think we have any frame damage. We've got some obviously damage up here in the very front, but I cannot see back in the wheel well area. I do know that this wheel looks like it is pushed back. Obviously the fender is pushed way back. I'm not quite sure why. So first things first, I'm gonna get the jack out here. We're gonna get this tire off, and then somewhere I have what I call my mini spare for my super truck. It's a very low profile tire on an 18-inch wheel, and I use it for these specific applications. So I just don't know where it is right now. Anyways, I'll round that up. We'll get this thing changed out and see if we can get it off the trailer. So it's a little breezy out here today, so apologize if the wind's blowing in the mic. I'm doing my best. I'm not sure that's going to work in this particular location or not. We're going to find out. Should probably unstrap it though, huh? So Connor was asking me the other day what I did to this extension, or this adapter. It's a 1/2 inch and it just kind of doesn't stay on there no more. It says obviously I needed a special tool, and I did. See, when I was going to get this, I checked the spare tire on the gray truck to make sure we got a good tire, but I don't have the jack tools for that truck. Somebody took them. So I had to make a special tool to get up in there and put the tire down, the spare tire, you know what I'm saying? Just in case I needed it. And I never did need it. But still, got to be prepared. Okay, well, first glance, I don't see anything wrong with the frame, which is good. I was concerned it'd be buckled right here, but it's not. And what happens is, see this lower section right here, that's pushed back. Happens a lot on these F-150s. But it's not a big deal when you have a frame machine. We can yank that around pretty easy. We've done them multiple times. Now we definitely have something going on the upper control arm here. I think, I'm assuming the knuckle is wounded. Don't see anything wrong in the steering area. We'll probably just put a lower control arm on it. We're probably going to put a knuckle on it. The strut looks okay. It does not have a leveling kit in it. I was kind of hoping it did, but anyways. Here's the radiator support. You can see it pulled it right out of that. I've never seen that before. That's pretty cool, but again, it didn't hurt the frame at all. The only real thing wrong with the frame so far is that bumper bracket behind here, which, as you know from the gray one, is completely replaceable for like 20 bucks. So we'll fix that up real quick. I'm not quite sure why this fender's pushed back so far, but I have a feeling we're going to find out a little later on. Like I said, we just want to get this thing off trailer, park it in the corner, and then it's going to have to sit for a few weeks because I'm backed up with projects for other people. So like I said, hopefully the old mini spare here will clear everything by like a mile. Look at that. This thing's awesome. It's like NASCAR around here. So as you can see, we got some caster camber issues going on with that wheel. Actually, that upper control arm is bent right there. I've never seen like that before. Again, super easy to replace. That's kind of why I like these old F-150s. Anyways, let's see if we'll get it off trailer. Alright, we got it all unstrapped, ready to go, except for the ramps. I gotta put them up. But before we get down on the ground, let me show you the added damage that came with it from, this actually came from Insurance Auto Auctions actually. I said Copart, but it came from IAA. So I'm pretty sure this dent right here was not in that truck because it looks pretty fresh, along with this plastic transfer all the way down the box side. But luckily, that's just on the surface. That'll buff off. And if my PDR guy ever gets out of jail, I'm pretty sure he can fix that door for me. On the other side, that looks pretty fresh right there, I'll tell you that. You see, I had the new guy evidently. First day on the loader, it had to be, because he was not smooth at all. But he got the job done. But he actually dropped this thing on the trailer so hard that the running board hit the fender of the trailer. And look how much distance was there. Looked over at that lever that said down, and he was like, the frickin' gray truck was bouncing all over the place. I just stood back. I didn't know what was happening. And then he had the forks jammed up underneath the rear axle. And he just looked at me like, what do I do? So I had to guide him on how to get his machine back off from underneath my truck. But as you can see, it kind of damaged the emergency brake cable right there. So I'm going to have to replace that also. So He added about, I don't know, $700-800 in parts and paint and damage on it. Such nice people. But usually the loader guys are pretty awesome. Like I said, pretty sure it's his first day. Good help's hard to find, right? Well, that's fine. I think it's about time to trade the old trailer off anyways. It's starting to get pretty rusty. And the tires are about half tread. I said when this thing needed tires or brakes, I'm selling it and just going to go buy a brand new one again. It's just not worth to keep these things up when they start to rust. They just, once they start, they just go downhill. So yeah, let's see if it moves. I don't know if I have any brakes. The ABS light is on. The master cylinder I know is broke off. I guess we should see if we have a brake pedal first. Okay, I got a brake pedal. Do I have a key? I got 2 keys. Whoa, that's pretty awesome. 111,770. You all right? Sorry, I didn't see you fall down. I would have been here quicker. Like I said, it's windy out here. But yeah, it definitely has a misfire. Oh, the air box. I seen the air box is all, yeah, it's all jacked up. I think I'm gonna take some of this crash tape, put it on the roof of the camper where that hole is, so I can leave it outside. It's supposed to rain the rest of this week. What's up, chickens? What do we got here? Where's the hood release? It's attached to this somewhere. There it is. Yeah, look at this. So she's got a little air restriction going on right here. And I don't think it's happy about that. Chickens are happy though, it's nice out. So yeah, I'm gonna say that's probably our misfire. She's sucking shut. I'm gonna see if I can fix that quick and check out the brake system. Oh, the wires are broke out of that, so the remote start ain't gonna work. Yeah, there's the wiring right there for that. No big deal. That's okay, it's just not where it's supposed to be. Okay, and there's our master cylinder problem. So you can see our master cylinder reservoir looks like it's just off of the pedestal. If we just take the top off, the truck ain't gonna know it doesn't have a filter. Boy, that is really tight though. So that can relax like so. Oh, it's got some sort of pins that go through there. Let me show you, that's weird. I've never worked on one of these, master cylinders before, but it's got these 2 roll pins that go through the master cylinder. They're supposed to go through that reservoir. So we're gonna need a new reservoir. Just be able to cut these brackety things off of here. And then just put that right back on, hopefully. Like so. Okay, we're winning. I'm just gonna put enough fluid in it to shut the light up so I don't put any air into the system while I'm moving it around for the next month. So, but we're gonna have to replace it, so we're not gonna get too crazy. Got just shy of 10 acres of property. This is where they hang out at. Whatever. Stupid chickens. So that is all good, but I can't take this out. Or no, I can, because I think the coolant's empty because assuming the radiator's broke. Let's just take this whole thing and doohickey out of here. All we should have to do is pull this spring clamp off of here. Put that in my pocket so the wife can wash it for me when she does the laundry. Get this out of the way if we can here. Oh, much better. So much more room. Yeah, we're gonna need some inner structure work. So we're definitely gonna have to do some inner structure replacement here. This is bent back. It's not supposed to look that tight. This is supposed to be like here. It's probably pushed back a good 5-6 inches. Maybe even more, but it did not get into from here back into there. It's fine, it looks like. Which was my concern. The other concern is the ABS, which is right here, and it definitely hit it, but I don't think it hurt it. I think it just bent the bracket. But we'll know more about that once we get torn apart. But again, that ain't gonna be for probably a month. You'll see it. You'll see it in an upcoming video. So now we'll just show the air box back, the top back on. So it's got the mass airflow sensor in it, like so. Put it down in there like that. Oh, much gooder. Plug it back in. Leave that off. The rest of it looks okay. I mean, the radiator's obviously busted. The fans No, it's broke. So we're going to put cooling fans in it. We're definitely going to put a radiator in it. It looks like the AC condenser and the transmission cooler, the intercooler definitely took a good hit. But remember the old Expo? Yep, right there it is. I believe those are the same from the F-150 to the Expedition. I don't know for sure though. Guess we're gonna have to do some research. I kind of banked on using that and I didn't even think to look. So whatever, we'll find out when we get there. Now if you're better on the channel, you know that I usually don't buy stuff with blown airbags, especially the Nissan Rogues. But these F-150s are dirt cheap. I can get that bag for like 50 bucks from the junkyard right in town here. There's a million of them on the market. And it doesn't look like the seatbelt blew, which I've seen that on F-150s also. The gray truck was like that, I think. So all we have to do is pull the module off from under the center console, which isn't real bad to get to. It's not real fun. But we'll pull the module out, send that down to My Airbags or whatever it is named this week anyways. We'll get that reset, pick up a used airbag for it. I don't think you have to put a clock spring in the F-150s. And then we'll get start tracking down parts. I already found a used hood in color. We're gonna go look at that and make sure it's in good shape. That way I don't have to blend into this fender, hopefully, because this is, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but this is ruby red, which is a tri-coat red, and it's kind of not a real fun color to match. And I'm not real fond of this color on a pickup truck, but as you know, everything I own is red, so this is at least a shade of red, but I don't know. I like the gray, but man, can you lose that thing in a parking lot so easily? We were at Walmart the other day. I came out, I was like, where did I freaking park at? Everything's gray. At least this one stands out a little bit. So yeah, we're gonna get that thing fired up, get it moved over here to the project to be done pile. You can see the flex is in. Wife blowed a tire at work the other day. Whole inside of the tire let loose. Frickin' cheap tires. I asked her, I said, you need me to come in and change that? And she said, well, let me see if I can get the lug nuts loose. If I get them loose, I can do the rest. And sure enough, took care of it all by herself. Anyway guys, that's it for a midweek little video here. Thought I'd show you the new ride, if I'm gonna keep it. I don't know, red or gray, I can't decide. I like the FX4 package, but I like the EcoBoost. I don't know which one to go with, so. And this one has a tonneau cover on it. That one does not. I was gonna put one on that truck. This one already had it, but it needs 4 new tires. So when I bought this thing, I was weighing in the new tires, because it's gonna need $1,000 in tires. If the motor needs frickin' cam phasers, there's another 1,200 bucks. Now I got $12,000 and a $12,000 truck. I don't like doing that. Anyways, that's it for this week, guys. I gotta get back in, get working on the edge, and we'll see you guys Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Catch you on the next one.